My entry into the dance world, because I actually did an English literature and theatre degree at Sheffield University, was through contact improvisation. Contact improvisation is a form of partnering where you give and receive the weight of the other person that you're dancing with. It's a duet form. That's how I entered into contemporary dance, and I enjoyed and got on with that giving and taking of weight much more than I did with conventional contemporary dance. So of course, with my literary and theatre and contact background and a bit of aerial work thrown in, I'm much more interested still in that as a form of movement. The main thing I try to do when I get a group of performers, whether they're musicians, spoken word artists, dancers or actors, it's usually nowadays a mix of professional and non-professional performers, what we're trying to do is find a common ground. The easiest way I found over 30 years of dance practice to find a connection with someone is to dance with them. And the easiest, quickest way to shortcut a relationship is to partner somebody. So when you partner with someone and you dance with them, you find out a lot about who they are, how they move, how rigid or soft or fluid they are, what sensory information you're getting from them, what they smell like, whether they can take your weight, whether they struggle, whether they know how to be with you in a space. And that's really useful. So I'm interested in partnering because for me, it can be used as a metaphor and a demonstration of equality between two people, whether that is a man and a woman in my early work, lots of feisty duets between me and Harry Thierke, who I worked for the first 3 or 4 years with in Vincent Dance Theatre, or whether it's a duet between Rob Clark and a small child, an 11-year-old girl in Loco Apprentice, or whether it's a sort of feisty fighting duet in Shutdown, or whether it's a beautiful poetic dance between two men in Shutdown when they're exploring their sexuality. We used partnering a lot in Virgin Territory to integrate the 4 young people into the work.
The 40 women.
And it's an exploration of power, equality, balance, give and take. It can be used as a metaphor for all of those things. I've also explored it in a sapphic sense between 2 women, whether they're exploring an intimate relationship or not. I've used partnering, I suppose, to show a lack of consent in shows where there are allusions to rape or sexual abuse, which has been a running theme through my work as a feminist over the years. So yeah, I use partnering a lot as I said, as a demonstration of power. And sometimes, of course, you can have a beautiful flowing duet that is a love duet or a relationship duet that is much more calm and accepting of one another. Or you can also use partnering, which I've done quite a lot in slow motion, where there's a lot of comedy to be had from sort of punching someone slowly in the face and whilst you're pulling them to the floor. So it's all about give and take. In the context of making my work, we often use partnering and contact and release technique in our warm-ups. And more often than not, we might start with some yoga or some release-based work or some stretching work or some aerobic work, and then flow quite naturally into an improvisation that is about duet work and partnering. Response to being pushed. So the connection of me going across is what makes his leg go in that direction. It's the same energy as the push, yeah? Rather than I'm being pushed and then I'm adding a move on. That's not what it is. And then often that improvisation or bit of the end of a warm-up will become the first task of the day. So I'll identify couples, so Rob, you work with Aurora, Janusz, you work with the young person, whoever works with whoever, and I'll start to feed in tasks around that particular relationship. As that particular relationship grows and material is built, I might start to identify that, oh, Rob, you look a little bit fatherly when you're working with that small young girl. Let's go with what it means to be a father in that relationship, or let's look at a paternal way of moving together, or let's load the image of supporting the young girl in a fatherly way.
Nice, yeah, lovely. Okay, slowly.
Or maybe I might say to Janusz, who's working with a younger boy, that looks like an uncle, a bit like who's trying to guide him.
Keep your arms active, keep your fingers active, high.
So I'll find the visual meaning, if you like, from what I'm seeing in those partnerships. And then by feeding that back to the performers and talking about what is your experience of having an uncle or not, or what's your experience with maybe what's your relationship like with your father, what do you want to explore within this, what does the piece need? I guess we'll start to not only see meaning in what the dance is showing me on the outside, but also layer into the duet meaning that maybe wasn't there when it first started.
But if you have someone that's a little bit heavy, you can hold it in a slightly different way and boost slightly through the ribs.
And partnering often then forms duets that usually end up in the work. Expressing the power, balance or imbalance, or as I've explained, the whatever I want that duet to say.